once again from Forbes breaking news, Hawley explodes at Mayorkas and accuses him of lying under oath. So Hawley, Kennedy, Jim Jordan, they seem like stand-up guys. I don't know them from a ham sandwich, but somebody's got to push back on this insanity, right? And these people are going to squirm, and they're going to lie, and they're going to tell you that, oh, it's all in the level, or I didn't know this, that, and the other. But it really needs to stop. And unfortunately, I think we're too deep in, right? They have complete control. We see it in California with Newsom. We see it in New York with Kathy Hochul and that entire regime. It's a complete cesspool in the whole state of New York, with Cuomo taking down the governor before him, and then the AG, which Cuomo used to be, taking down. I mean, it's a complete and total mess. There's friendly fire over there. They will always eat their own. And I guess we have a couple of stand-up guys, at least, right? I haven't dug that deep. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like, oh, the Republicans are great, because they're mostly spineless little weasels, but they're not nearly as insane and corrupt, as far as I know, as the Democratic Party. And even if they are, right, I now long for the days of a little bit of, surface level corruption, right? Skim off the top. The tax funds, high-end hookers, a little bit of blow, whatever. But now they're telling you that, oh yeah, you're going to drive an electric car. We're going to drive the prices of that up. You're going to cut the junk, the dicks and tits off your kids and get them sold to China.
Yeah, I'm not going to get my dick cut off and sold to China, spend the rest of my life on a treadmill like this guy. What?
It's absolutely ridiculous, but I digress. I'm getting too turned up already before this has even started. But Hawley explodes at Mayorkas. Let's take a look.
Very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, let's just come back to Jose Ibarra, if we can. You know who that is. That's a question.
Uh-oh. Sounds like it's going to get dark quick.
You know what he did?
I know what he's accused of doing.
Which is?
Murdering a young woman.
And that wasn't the first crime that he committed in this country, was it?
Senator, as I've articulated previously, I'm not going to speak about the facts of the case because there is an ongoing criminal investigation.
Have you read his parole file?
Hang on. These people, Mayorkas especially, right? Oh, Homeland Security. And then you got cackling Camel Toe Hills Up Harris, who was once supposed to be the border czar. But they will go to any lengths to defend these criminals. And as soon as you push back just a tiny bit, right? Maybe this is a little bit of apples to oranges, but Pamela Price, the Alameda County District Attorney, is facing a recall. And what does she do? Charge officers. So no matter how bad things get, it's always going to be the fault of the people trying to stop the crime. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But I'm getting triggered. This is crazy.
Senator, same answer.
So you're not going to say whether or not you've read the parole file? I've got it right here. Have you read this?
Senator, I do not want to speak to the particulars of the case, given the pending.
Of course, I don't want to let you know how bad, like how extreme we have been in allowing these people to terrorize Americans. I'm not going to speak to that.
Criminal
prosecution.
Now,
I find this interesting because this is a new answer today. You've changed your answers all over the map on this, and it looks like to me you just don't want to answer the question. 2 days ago, you were asked about this in the House Homeland Security Committee. I've got the transcript right here in front of me. You were asked the same question. Jose Ibarra, why was he paroled? You said, I don't know. You said, I don't know. I don't have the case details with me today. Congressman Bishop says, you don't know? And you said, I don't know. I don't have the details with respect to that individual's case, but I would be pleased to provide them to you, Congressman. You didn't know 2 days ago. Now, interestingly, on April the 10th, 6 days before that, you gave Senator Katie Britt a different answer. She asked you the same question. She said, why was Jose Ibarra paroled into the United States? You said, and I quote, Ranking Member Britt, there was no derogatory information of which we were aware. So you were happy to comment on the case then, on April the 10th. By April the 16th, you had developed amnesia, and today you say you just won't comment. So which is it, Mr. Secretary? Now that we have the file, I'll tell you what the difference is. Congressman Bishop didn't have the parole file, and Senator Britt didn't have the parole file, and now we do have the parole file. And now we all know that the reason he was paroled into this country was because lack of detention capacity, which as you and...
Yeah, and I mean, he's part of the strategic takeover. So if he commits a couple crimes, harms, or worse some Americans, that's just the cost of doing business, Senator Hawley.
I both know is not a valid reason
Uh-oh, here come the presentation boards.
under the statute. And now that we know that for sure, this is right out of the parole file. Here it is. Subject was paroled due to detention capacity at the Central Processing Center in El Paso, Texas. Now suddenly you don't want to talk about it. This is extraordinary. It's also a pattern.
So we had let so many people in, we didn't have room, so we had to let him run roughshod to the point where he did some terrible, terrible things.
Pattern with you. So let me just try one more time. Have you read the parole file?
Senator, I'm going to give the same answer, and let me say
Well, which one? Are you going to give me the answer you gave to Senator Britt? Are you going to give the answer you gave to Congressman Bishop, or the answer you gave to Senator Paul, or do you want to try a fourth one?
Senator, I will not speak to the particulars of the case, given the pending criminal prosecution.
Yeah, well, I'm sure. Well,
Yeah. The illegal, which, of course, that was his first crime. I can't speak to that because we're still investigating. This guy is despicable. Oh, disgusting.
You certainly, of course, you don't want to, because it is an absolutely damning indictment of your policies. Let's just review Jose Barrera and how he came to be here. On September the 8th, 2022, he was encountered by United States Border Patrol in El Paso, Texas, and was paroled into the United States due to lack of detention capacity. A provision, a proviso, a rule that is not permitted under the statute. You and I both know you know this. You knew it when you were talking to Congressman Bishop. You knew it when you were testifying to Senator Britt, and you know it today. You just never wanted to cop to it because the statute doesn't permit it. And so you lied to Congressman Bishop and you lied to Senator Britt. And now you are hiding behind the ongoing prosecution excuse because it's the last one left to you.
Look, I mean, I work for the Biden regime, right? Whoever's behind the curtain, he's obviously part of it. But we are tasked with making sure that we let enough illegals in so we can, I guess, in the long term, maintain power or congressional seats or whatever it is. And like I said, if they do some crazy things, that's just the cost of doing business. So Alejandro Mayorkas, as disgusting and despicable as he is, he's kind of just like a fall guy. I mean, Biden himself is a fall guy. We don't know. I truly don't know. It's quite clear. It is obvious that Bo Jiden is not calling the shots. Carmelto couldn't, I mean, right? She became a politician because I guess she was kind of cute 30 years ago. But who knows what's really happening, right? You can't say, oh, it might be some weirdo man behind the curtain, some globalist puppeteer. Can't say that. Can't say it's Barry O. So we don't really know what's happening, but this guy knows that, hey, look, I've been tasked with making sure that these people can come in and we let them do whatever it is we want. And I don't know, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I know, did I read it? Nope. Well, can't talk to it because the criminal alien that we let in, he deserves a proper trial, even though his very first crime was showing up illegally. I mean, it's through the roof.
Because you testified falsely under oath. Then on July 19th, 2023, Ibarra reports for a biometric appointment and was fingerprinted. This is now in New York. The results come back and indicate he has a criminal history. So he's in this country. He has a criminal history. September 14th, he is arrested in New York by NYPD for what? Injuring a child. September 14th, 2023, he is arrested for injuring a child. What happens? The offense was never prosecuted, and the arrest was expunged. I'm reading right out of the parole file. Expunged. Nothing is done to this guy. He had a criminal record to start with. He's in the country on illegal grounds. You have falsely and illegally allowed him in.
But if you protest at an abortion clinic, they're going to throw the book at you. I mean, the hypocrisy is just so glaring. That is the point, right? It is a show of force that no matter how well the criminality is part of the regime, but no matter how minuscule, if you set foot on the lawn on some one faithful day in January 2021, you will be thrown in jail for several years. But you could injure a child after hopping the border illegally and get your record expunged, right? So we all know about the criminality in New York, but they're so worried about letting illegals run wild and trying to take down the orange man. It's just ridiculous. It's desperate. And we know by now that if the media at large were even a tiny bit honest, right? So they're pumping Americans full of fake news, nonstop, NPR, ABC, oh, disgusting, NBC, CNN, MSNBC, all that. Quite obviously, they're pumping people full of this hyperbolic, fake news, orange man, bad nonsense, and they're still having a tough time, right? They're having a very tough time getting people to disregard the reality surrounding them. And if they had a tiny sense of honesty, it wouldn't even be a question. There's people I seen YouTube videos recently by James Klug. Shout out James Klug, right? Where he went around talking to people in Nashville, I think, and surprisingly, I'm so deep in that it's like, yeah, of course, we all know this.
Have you heard of his opportunity zones that he tried to enact from Donald Trump? Yeah.
I haven't heard a thing.
Wow, yeah. Well, Donald Trump was trying to revitalize our neighborhoods by giving more opportunities to black people in inner cities. And that was a program that was initiated that he was really trying to get started, but none of the left media was really reporting on it because it ruins the narrative that he is a racist, that he is a bigot, that he hates black people.
But there are people out there who literally only get the snippets, the incredibly taken out of context snippets of Donald Trump from 2017 and don't realize that's just a part of the scam. There's really people out there that do not realize this.
He commits a crime against a child. He's not prosecuted. It's expunged. In November, get this. In November, Ibarra files an application for employment authorization. And unbelievably, on December the 9th, 2023, it's approved. So this is your policies in action, Mr. Secretary. A criminal is permitted into this country on grounds flatly not permitted, flatly contradictory to the statute. He commits a crime against a child, and then he gets a work permit.
Yep. And, we see this all over the place, right? Oh, well, somehow the FDA or the CDC, I should say, decided that, oh, you didn't have to pay rent, and Beau Biden is going to cancel student loans. He's doing all of this stuff completely illegally, hoping that it's going to get through the courts, but if it doesn't, it buys him enough time to do some absolute nonsense. And so right now, it's like they're destroying everything, I guess, in hopes of somehow blaming it on Trump. But even if that doesn't work, then Trump will inherit a country absolutely in shambles, and they'll still get to say he didn't do a good job.
He gets a work permit. You want to know why all of the jobs in the last 2 or 3 years have gone to illegal migrants? Working people in this country can't get a job. Their unemployment rate's high. Why? Because of things like this. And then what's he do? Well, we all know. Then in February, he commits the heinous crime against Laken Riley. Is this a record that you are proud of?
Senator, you've misstated some facts.
I have read from the parole file, which you have said you don't recall, don't have, you miscited. I'm reading from it. It is right here. And I've just, pursuant to the speech and debate clause, I have just read it into the record. And the reason is, you have lied repeatedly to Congress and to the American people about this. They deserve to know. And the only way they're going to know is if I tell them.
And he asked him point blank, is this a record you're proud of? Letting this guy commit a litany of crimes all the way up through eliminating an American. Are you proud of this? And he said, oh, well, you've misstated some facts. Okay, well, tell us the facts then. How about that, Alejandro?
Just told him. It's in the record now. I've read it verbatim from the parole file. Verbatim. I just want to know, why did you change your story so often? Why didn't you just answer honestly to Congressman Bishop and Senator Britt?
Senator, I am confident that justice will be vindicated in the criminal prosecution of the case.
Well,
answer his question. Are you proud of that record? How about you answer that?
Hopefully he'll get more of a trial than you got. Otherwise, there'll be no justice for anyone at all. Let me ask you something else. Travis Wolf, do you know that name?
Not off the top of my head.
Travis Wolf is a 12-year-old boy from Missouri. This is him. Travis was killed on December 20th, 2023, or I should say he was in a tragic attack on that night. He died some weeks later, head-on collision. The person driving the vehicle, who's now been charged with 6 criminal counts, is Indrina Bracco. Do you know who that is?
I do not, but let me communicate that I know that all of our hearts break for the family of this young boy who died in that accident.
Well, she's an illegal migrant here from Venezuela. Local
I'm sorry. Look, I don't want to be that guy, but the Venezuelans are absolutely on a tear. They're putting the rest of the migrants from all other regions of the world to shame. They are destroying, they are terrorizing Americans. And people like Alejandro Mayorkas is all not only letting it happen, but encouraging it to happen.
law enforcement tell me that she was detained briefly at the border in 2023 and then released. And then she commits this crime. Multiple people have been stabbed in O'Fallon, Missouri by illegal migrants. Mr. Secretary, I know that you think your policies are a success. You've sat right there in that chair and you've told me over and over our policies are working.
Hang on. His policies are a success for him. It's not a success for you. It's not a success for me. It's not a success for the young lady Riley or this young man here. It's not a success for them. It's not a success for regular Americans, but for him and his regime, it 100% is a success. It's doing exactly as they hoped it would.
Working. You're on the record years and years saying that. Maybe they're working for you. Maybe they're working for your political objectives, whatever they may be. I don't know.
Yep.
But they're not working for Laken Riley or Travis Wolf or the people of my state. They are, in fact, a travesty. What you have done is a travesty. And, sir, it is long past time for you to go. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm sitting here in a hoodie saying exactly what Mr. Hawley is saying, thinking like, dude, I'll just run for Congress or Senate or whatever. Because, I mean, right, could it be any worse? I don't think so. I think we just need a little common sense. They want to make these issues, oh, it's complicated. We have to figure this out. No, you don't. It's really quite simple.